Hi class, welcome to our weekly chat. I apologize for the lighting. It's early in the morning. Summer is starting. I'm trying to get this stuff done before I have little people helping me. Okay, let's talk about what happened last week. You turned in your lit reviews and research questions. Thank you. The ones that I have read are very good. Please don't be alarmed with your research questions that the vast majority of you will be required to make significant revisions on those. That's how the research questions work. If you were doing a full-scale research project, you would take months to develop these research questions. You'd go through many drafts. We have a lot less time, so we're going to condense that, but just know that revisions are expected. That's something we anticipate happening. There were several things that I noticed in the research questions. One, the research questions need to all be on the same topic, and that needs to be on the same topic as the lit review. The reason for that is we're building your final project over the course of the semester. So both the lit review and research questions will be part of your final project. In order for those to work together, they need to be on the same topic, and it needs to be on the topic that was approved for your group. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. Typically, you're going to have 3 to 5 research questions that build to that final project. And keep in mind, the reason these research questions need to be so good is because they are what guides your final project. They are going to be what ends up leading to the creation of your survey, what ends up guiding your data analysis. Everything is going to build off those research questions, so they need to be pretty good. If you have any questions about your feedback, please let me know. If you were one of those groups that was asked to make revisions, please make sure those revisions are submitted to me via email. You can either just send it directly through Outlook or you can send it through Canvas. Either way is fine. Via email no later than May 29th at 11 p.m. So this is just 1 week past the original due date. In all cases actually, I provided pretty significant feedback on those research questions and gave you some possible examples of how you could write those questions. If you like the example questions, you're welcome to use those as some of your research questions, but you are by no means required to do that. They're just meant to show you what a research question for your particular project could look like. If you have any problem viewing the feedback for those research questions, please let me know. iLearn's being a little funny about uploading comments to all group members, so if you don't see any comments on your research questions, but your group members do, you just need to figure out the little bug that iLearn's having. For the vast majority of you, you don't actually have a score yet for those research questions, and that's fine. You will receive a score after I receive your revised copy, and that's to incentivize you to send me the revised copy of the research questions. The lit review feedback will come later. Everything is typically graded within 7 days. Those lit reviews might take a little bit longer than 7 days because we have multiple assignments this week. Keep a lookout for that. Look for the comments on the research questions even if you don't have a score. Okay, let's talk about where we're going now. So we're going to have an observational study discussion group. I know that when you see observational study, it becomes a little bit terrifying. Like, what do I do for that? So you need to observe something and tell me what you see. For example, I'll give you an example of an observational study that's been going on at my house for the last week. There is a pile of toys at the bottom of our stairs. I am waiting to see who puts the toys away. It's been 6 days. No one's put them away yet. My daughter took 1 or 2 things out that she needed. I don't think my boys realize the toys are there. So we're going to see how long we can wait it out until they put it away. And that's it. We're just observing what happens. Your observational experiment might be as simple as watching what people do with their grocery carts when they leave the grocery store, or leaving a plate of cookies out and seeing who takes one, or leaving dishes in the sink to see if a roommate or family member does them. It's just something that you are watching to see what happens. You don't tell people an experiment is happening because that will change the results. Just want to see how research and experimentation is taking place in our everyday life. So you need to make sure you do that, and then you need to go ahead and post to the discussion board. I'll post an example of that in the next day or so you see a bit more what I am looking for as far as your post goes. But basically, you need to go through all of the parts of the prompt and then respond to your classmates' post. When you look at the prompt. There are multiple parts of it, but you need to make sure that you explain your experiment. I know that this is an assignment that some students feel like they can maybe fudge a little. I will know that you didn't do your experiment, or I will know that you were trying to trick me. So please, just honestly do the experiment. You observe something, it's a very low key, very easy for you to do. Make sure you do that, record the results, and put them as part of your discussion board post, because you will not get points if you try and fake it till you make it, because you can't fake it till you make it on this particular thing. Okay, that is due on the 29th. The next big thing that we're going to do is the methods section, and that is due on the 5th of June. More information will come on this, but essentially the methods section is the roadmap or the recipe for your research project. This is where you're going to tell me what you're going to do and the basic steps of how you're going to do it. The directions are included in Canvas. Please go ahead and look at those and let me know if you have any questions. We'll talk a little bit more about it next week, what you need to do. But remember that one of the hallmarks of good research is that it can be replicated. In order for your study to be replicated, you need to provide enough detail so future researchers can replicate your study and validate your findings. If your method section is skeletal or non-descriptive, they cannot replicate your study and validate your results. So make sure that it is descriptive. Think about a recipe. You need all the parts of the recipe to be able to successfully make whatever it is. If you don't have all the parts, it is not going to turn out how you initially had planned. So make sure that you do that. And examples will be posted, and directions are obviously included in iLearn. But this is the moment where you need to decide who you are going to study. So I recommend you go one of two routes. I recommend either you request a simple random sample of BYU Idaho students. It's typically 200 to 300 student email addresses provided from the BYU Idaho IRB as part of the IRB application that we do in Lesson 8. Or I recommend you decide you're going to collect responses via social media and post the link to your survey on your Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media account you choose to use. These are the fastest and easiest ways to collect data. If you are one of those people that wants to go out and stop people on the street and collect information from them, you are welcome to do that. Pen and pencil survey or pen and paper surveys have their place. The problem is that every survey that someone fills out with a pen on a piece of paper, you have to enter into Excel so you can do the data analysis. I don't know about you, but I don't really enjoy data analysis, and the room for error is so large. So my recommendation is you go one of the two other routes so that you can use an electronic survey, which will compile the data for you and be fairly error-free, assuming the person answered correctly. That's my recommendation. I also recommend that when you send this survey out electronically, you either use Qualtrics, which the full version is available to you free via BYU Idaho. You just need to search on the BYU Idaho website. More information about this will come later as well for BYU Idaho Qualtrics. Or you use Google Forms, which is available free on Google to anyone. I do not recommend you use SurveyMonkey. It is confusing. It has a number of issues, but Qualtrics is very robust, has a lot of data analysis tools built in, which will help you, as does Google Forms. So think about those two things. Think about who you are going to study as we move forward, and then begin thinking about what kind of questions you would want on your survey to answer your research questions. Also, I will be sending out a tool for you to use probably early next week. Typically I provide it at the beginning of the semester, but then students are a little overwhelmed when they look at it. So we're gonna pull back a little until those research questions are pretty solid. But this tool, you're not required to use it, but it does help you with your organization. It helps you know which survey questions align with which research questions, how you need to analyze each thing. It's basically just a spreadsheet that helps you keep track of that. Keep an eye out for that. That will come sometime next week for you to look at. And there will be a video posted just informing you how to use the tool because it can be a bit confusing. But start looking forward to the methods section. It's going to be a page and a half, probably a group write-up. Same topic that we've been doing for the research questions and lit review. It's not too difficult, but there are some steps that we need to follow. We need to make sure that it contains information. Final thing, I've gotten a lot of questions from students, why is the page limit so short? Your page limit on your lit review was 5 pages. You probably could have done 500 pages. I mean, not really because you have a life, but you could have written a lot on your topic for your lit review. Your final paper has a page limit of 6. You have a 6-page page limit on your final paper. I know some of you are jumping for joy. You're like, 6-page page limit? Of course I can write this final paper. Breathe. Think about it. You have to cram all of the information from your entire semester's worth of work into 6 pages. That is going to be rough. As you've been reading these journal articles, I hope that you've noticed they're typically between 5 and 10 pages. The reason that there's a 6-page limit on your final paper is not so I have less to read in July. I do appreciate having less to read, but it is so you learn to write scientifically, so you learn to be concise and can include only the most important things future researchers and or your peers need to know. So as we move forward, start thinking about that. What details are nice to know versus need to know? It's going to become an essential thing. It's going to be important in the method section. It's going to be important in the survey because the survey you have 25 questions max to answer those research questions. The data analysis, the discussion, everything. We need to be concise. Unlike my videos, we need to be concise. We need to get the point across. It is going to be awesome. By the end of the semester, you're going to be so much better at writing. Not even going to believe it. No. Okay, let me know if you have any questions over this next week. Look for those things coming out, I would say early next week, because I don't want to overwhelm you with all these tools. But happy Memorial Day. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you.